What's going on, guys? Today I thought I'd make a video about how I was able to afford a $45,000 car at 18, which it was like about 4 months after I turned 18, and everyone was like shook, like, how is this guy like driving this car, like must be daddy's and mommy's money, Bitch, it wasn't that case, but so basically, when I was 16, right away I got a job in high school working at a local fast food restaurant over here at Burger King. And I wasn't making much, I was able to pay. I had bills, I've always had bills. Like, I had my car insurance. I had to have my own car insurance under my name. My dad didn't want me under the car insurance with him because it'd be too expensive. So I had to buy my own car insurance at 16, which is pretty pricey, especially for a 16-year-old. And thinking back now, I wish I still paid the same thing with this car, but it's fine. But I've always been working, and I'm not rich by any means, but like, I've always had a little bit of money, in my pocket. But back when I was 16 in high school, I'd put that money towards my 240 and just kind of buying stupid little mods, anything I had extra, like some cheap coilovers or getting some food or something like that, nothing too big. But once I graduated, I quit Burger King, and truck's pulling up right next to me. Oh, there's an older guy that's just staring at my car. That's funny. But once I graduated high school, I quit Burger King, and I worked at a warehouse for like about a month, I want to say, until they laid all the workers off. It wasn't very long, but I was able to work a lot more hours because I wanted to work a lot more. And then once they laid everyone off, it was fine because I was moving over to a couple towns over called Yakima, and I was going to go to college there, and I was going to live with my uncle while I was going to college. And so I got a job working at this assisted living place, which it was a pretty easy job, like, it didn't pay the most, but it was a fairly decent job, it was a full-time job, really easy, like, you weren't doing much. You'd honestly probably be on your phone the majority of the time. Sorry if the employers are hearing me, but it's fine. I'm sure they know all their employees are on their phone. But I started working there, and I started buying a couple more cars, like I had an SRT4, my 240 I had just taken apart. So I wasn't really driving my 240, so I just kind of let it sit, and it was sitting there for a good minute. So I wasn't really worried about the 240, and the SRT4 was like my first turbo car, and I think I paid like 4,000 something for it. I don't remember. But that car was a lemon car, like, it was kind of bad, and I ended up breaking all the time, and I just kind of let it sit. And I had my Nissan Sentra from high school that used to be my daily driver, and it was a really good car. It was like a 2003 Nissan Sentra, and it took me everywhere. It got me to point A to point B every single time with no issues. And so basically, a family member, their car broke down, and we had an extra car that was stick, but they didn't know how to drive stick, so I let them borrow my Sentra, and I was driving this what is it, like a 92 Honda Civic 4-door, and it looked like a junkyard car. Honestly, we called it a sopilote. It was pretty funny. We always made fun of it, but man, I was so tired of driving around in that thing. I was getting pretty annoyed of it driving to work, but it was fun in the sense that it was stick. But it was pretty embarrassing at times. You get inside, it smells like gas. The seats looked all janky, and I was getting kind of annoyed of it. And my SRT4 was broken. My 240 was kind of apart, so I wasn't driving it. And I think I only had 3 cars then. And so, I didn't have my Sentra because I was letting a family member use it, which I didn't mind. Like, I'm always happy to help, but I didn't have my Sentra, and I was driving the little Civic, so I was like, damn, I'm just kind of rocking around in this thing. It was good on gas. That was good. It was pretty fun driving it around, but embarrassing the other 99% of the time. But I was like, damn, this thing sucks. And like, when I first moved to Yakima, I think I want to say in late July, I went to the Subaru dealership, and I saw this like 2019 was it? Yeah, 2019 STI, and I was like, damn. Yeah, I just kind of teased everyone on my Snapchat story, like, should I buy it? You know, knowing I don't have the money for that. Or, anyways, and so, and which was funny because the salesman just kind of blew us off. I went with my cousin, you know, and you could ask him, you know, they just kind of blew us off, which is pretty stupid, you know, like you just blow someone off just because they're young, anyways. But we had my uncle had a family friend that worked there, but he was in vacation in Mexico, so we couldn't really talk to him or have him help us. But we were just kind of browsing around, and we just kind of passed by and we saw it, and we got off to go look at it, and no one took it seriously. Whatever, you know. And fast forward to November 3rd, or it was a little bit before, you know. I went to go look at it again. You know, I was getting so tired of the Civic for whatever reason, you know, and I didn't want to say anything. And I had a little bit of money saved up, you know, and you know, $45,000, you know, is a lot of money for a car, which, you know, is pretty crazy. But it was 2018 November 3rd, so it was the next year's edition, so you know, it was a little bit cooler in that aspect too, you know. But and especially growing up, we never had any new car. Actually, we did have a new car, but we didn't have anything like too crazy nice. So like having this was like, what the heck, you know? And I found out it was actually a possibility for me to actually buy it, because once I turned 18, I pulled out a credit card, and I wasn't buying anything I couldn't afford, but I was hard on building my credit. You know, I was always trying to build my credit any way, shape, or form, and I was always looking up and researching different ways to build your credit. So I had decent credit at the time. I think I had like 700 something, you know, like a couple months after, but I had no history with credit. So I had good credit, but no credit history with anything big. So there's that aspect. And but I was building my credit, and I was talking to my uncle, you know, and my uncle's a very nice guy, and I asked him, like, you know, would you co-sign for me, you know, if I bought this car? Because obviously they wouldn't tell me yes. And my uncle's like, yeah, no problem, yeah, let's go look at it, which, you know, I appreciate a lot. And I was like, well, yeah, that's really all I need, you know. And I went to go look at it, and I was so nervous, you know, because there's a lot of different aspects, especially with like a nicer car like this. You need to be able, there's affording it, and then there's having enough money for it, you know. Like you could have enough money for it, but then you won't be able to pay insurance, gas, you know. And I was in a position where I was working full time, and I was going to college full time, and I wasn't paying for college. I was actually getting paid to go to college, you know, I was getting money back. So, and I was thinking, well, most of the kids my age are actually paying for college and having bills for college, and I wasn't paying anything for college. I was getting paid to go to college. So I was like, man, I should pull the plug. And I went to go look at it, and I remember being so nervous, just looking at the car, thinking I don't know if I'm gonna get it. You know, they were making calls to the bank, you know, wondering if we could get it. And sure enough, I was able to get it. You know, in total it was like 45,000. They originally wanted 45,000 because they have a markup price, which is pretty stupid in my opinion. But I got it for 39,000 something, I don't remember. And then I added on like lifetime oil changes and some gap insurance and all that stuff. And crazy enough, I only put $5,000 down, and I financed $40,000, which is a lot of money, you know, if you think about it. But I paid it. My whole mentality was to pay it off super quick, and which I did. You know, I owned the 2019 STI for about a year and a half, and I only had like 9,000 left, and that's because I was still buying other cars, still had other project cars, I still had other bills. So I wasn't throwing all my money at it, but I was throwing a good amount of money, you know, and I was still able to live like a pretty good life. You know, I was able to afford to go on a trip or to go do something else, you know, like, you know, I wasn't starving myself for money owning this car, which I don't think anyone should do if they're want to buy a new car and sacrifice so much, you know. I think, you know, a nice happy medium to where you could afford a car. But so, you know, it's pretty crazy. A lot of people thought it was like daddy's money, which no, it wasn't. You know, I was working quite a bit of overtime shifts, working on the weekends, you know, especially, which was hard because, you know, I go to college all week and then go to work right after, and then, you know, you'd kind of want a day off, but you didn't have one just because you were going to college or going to work on the weekends, and which kind of sucked in that aspect. But my work was really easy, so, you know, I didn't really mind it. But it was okay, you know. And then I ended up obviously getting the 2020 Series White, the one I'm in right now, trading that in. And, you know, like I said, I only own $9,000 on the other car, which by now I could have had it paid off, which is pretty crazy to think about, having that car paid off. And by the time I bought this one, I have no co-signers for the 2020 Series Y STI. It's just me under the name, and I'm 20 years old now, you know, and, you know, I have this car. It's perfectly under my name. I can show you guys the title. Well, actually, I don't want to show you guys the title, but just to show you guys, you know, it's just under my name. I have no co-signers. I have to bill my own insurance, you know, which insurance for these cars is pretty spendy, but, you know, you just got to look at quotes for insurance before you buy a car. But I mean, that's pretty much it, you know. Wasn't much to it, you know. I was just working a lot, and, you know, just giving a lot of my money to the car, which is pretty much all there is to it, you know. Just not starving myself, you know. I didn't have a crazy good job, but, you know, I was good financially wise, and just trying to be smart with my money. It helped that I didn't have to pay for rent. I didn't have to pay for rent, but, you know, I paid for other little things, you know, which I'm very grateful in the aspect that I did have help, you know, not having to pay rent and all that stuff. But most 18, 19-year-olds aren't paying rent, so, you know, it's not that big of a deal in my opinion. And no one needed help in my family, you know. No one was starving for money in my family, which a lot of people do help their parents, but my parents or my uncle didn't need any help financial wise. My uncle had a paid off house and paid off cars, so it was a perfect time for him to co-sign for me, which was really nice because, you know, I probably wouldn't have been able to get the car without a co-signer, and I was able to because of the co-signer. But financially wise, it was on me, you know. Like, I paid my own insurance, I paid all the gas, I never had help with gas. I was driving quite a bit too, paid all the bills, you know, maintenance, whatever have it be, you know, just mostly insurance. Insurance is probably the more expensive thing you're paying. But thank you for sticking around. This was a pretty long talking video. I'm sorry if that's not really your thing, but I felt like I had to get it out there. You know, a lot of people were always saying, you know, mommy and daddy's money, but it's pretty funny, you know, when people say that and they don't believe you, you know. It makes you feel a little bit better about yourself because you really did do it on your own financially, and that was kind of makes me feel good. But that was the co-signer thing, you know. It was still a big help. And now owning this car, I had really good credit by the time I bought this car, so now I really have no help whatsoever with this car. But, you know, I enjoy saying it, you know. You know, just pay off your cars quick, and you got to be smart financially wise, you know. Look at interest rates and all that stuff, and do your research, and, you know, you could probably have yourself a pretty nice car without stressing too much. But yeah, thank you for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Bye.